Hi Year 6! Every week we will be posting a short video to summarise what we've been learning during this week. The reason why we're doing this is so you can look back at the video if you are confused on something or you'd like to recap something to help you learn. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start off by summarising what we are learning on Monday the 11th of January. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Waiting for it to load. Perfect. So tomorrow's lesson is slightly different to what we would usually be doing because we're going to finish off Friday's learning before moving on to a fraction quiz. Okay, so if you're joining the lesson on Monday, then you'll be doing the fun fraction quiz at the end where you'll be asked to find certain items as well. So all I'm going to do on this part is recap what we did on Friday and move us on to the word problems. So what we did on Friday is we looked at using a fraction to calculate the value of a whole. So you'd always start off the lesson with the 5-minute starter, and then we're looking at what to do to find a whole amount when you're given part of a fraction, the value of a part of a fraction. So let's have a look at the first question. It says 1/5 of something equals 6. So do I know my whole amount? No, don't know my whole, but I know that 1/5 is worth what? Yes, 6. So this is where you would draw your bar models. So I would draw my bar, and I know that 1/5 of something equals 6. So I know that I need to split my bar into 5 parts because that's what my denominator is. I'll circle that so you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now I don't know what my whole is, so I'm going to put a question mark here. I don't know what the value of my whole bar is. But I do know what? I do know that 1/5 is worth 6. So I'll fill that in. I know that 1/5 equals 6. Now I can fill in the rest of my bar. If I know that all of these are equal parts, I know that if this is worth 6, this is worth 6, this is worth 6, and so are these two. So then what do you think we need to do to work out the whole amount? If I know that 1/5 is worth 6, and I know that there are 5 parts in total, instead of doing 6 and 6 and 6 and 6 and 6, I could simply do 6 multiplied by how many parts there are, which is 5. I should have 30. Okay, we're going to do another one. The next question is slightly different because we now do not know the value of a unit fraction. We now know the value of 3/4. So we've got 3/4 of something equals 15. So do I know my whole amount yet? No, but I do know that 3/4 is worth 15. So 3/4 of something equals 15. So I'm going to draw my bar. This is why we always say to draw your bar because it's visual. You can see what's happening. So I've drawn my bar and I'm splitting it into 4 equal parts. Okay, so I'm splitting it into 4 equal parts. Now, do I know the value of my whole bar yet? No. I'm putting a big question mark above it. But what do I know? I know that 3/4 is worth 15. So I'm going to put 3 fingers on 3 parts. So then I can see, so 1, 2, 3. And I know that's 3/4 because it's 3 out of the 4 parts. And I know that 3/4 equals 15. Okay, so how am I going to work out the value of my whole bar? Well, firstly, I need to work out the value of 1 part. So if I know that 3 parts, so 3/4 is worth 15, to work out one of those parts, what do you think I need to do with 15 and how many parts there are? So my numerator, 3. Yeah, I divide. So I'm going to do 15 divided by 3. So 15 divided by 3, I know, is 5. Now remember, these are split into equal parts. So if 1/4 is 5, I can then fill in the rest of it. Now I could either, to work out the value of my whole, simply add all of my parts together, the value of each part together. Or I could simply do one part, which is 5, multiplied by how many parts we have in total. So 5 times 4, which is 20. Okay, so that's just a recap from what we did on Friday, where we were using the value of a part or of a few parts to work out the value of the whole bar. So I'll wipe off my whiteboard. If you're having a go at these at home, then have a go at the next one, and the challenges is where you might need to use the bus stop method to help. Okay, right, but now I'm going to move on to the next part of the lesson, which we didn't get onto on Friday, which is looking at these in word problems. And that was the answers as well, so you can mark those at home. So how does this work for word problems? So if you're looking at a fraction word problem and you're wondering if you're needing to find a fraction of an amount, or you're looking to use a fraction to find the value of a whole, firstly ask yourself, do you know the whole amount? If you do, then ask yourself, what fraction are you trying to find? So this is what we did on Thursday. This is where we were finding a fraction of an amount. So once you know this, you can then find a fraction of an amount, which is where you draw your bar and then you divide your whole amount by the denominator and multiply by the numerator. If you do not know your whole amount or quantity, then you need to find the whole just like we've been doing. But for both of those methods, if you're doing step 2 or step 3, draw your bar model to help you. Okay, so we're going through an example now. Step 1, it says, do you know your whole? So do you know your whole amount? So it says Mo spent 5/8 of his money on a new bike. Okay, so he spent 5/8 of his money on a new bike. He spent £75. How much money did Mo have to begin with? So do we know the whole amount? Do we know how much he started off with at the beginning? No. Okay, so that tells us that we're not finding a fraction of an amount. That tells us that we need to work out what the whole amount is, which is exactly what we've just been doing and what we did on Friday. Okay, so he said Mo spent 5/8 of his money on a new bike and he spent £75. So I know that 5/8 is worth £75. So this is why we get you to draw the bar model, because you can visually see it. So I'll firstly draw my bar and I'm going to split it into 8 equal pieces. And I do not know the value of the whole amount yet, but I do know that 5/8, so if I counted 5 of those 8 bars, is worth £75. Okay, so how can I use that to work out the value of the whole? So if I know 5/8 is worth £75, I need to work out what the value of one part is, so the unit fraction, so 1/8. So if I know 5/8 is worth £75, I could do £75 divided by 5. So what the numerator is, so how many parts there are, which is 15. So that tells me that 1/8 is worth £15. Now remember, you split your bar into equal parts. So that means all of those parts are each worth 15. So to work out how much Mo had to begin with, I could either add up all of those parts, or to make it easier, I could simply do 15 multiplied by my denominator, so how many parts there are in total. So 15 times 8 is 120. Remember, don't forget your units. We're looking at pounds. It's not 120 bananas, it's 120 pounds. Brilliant. So we would then go through another example during the lesson and a few other examples as well. But all this is just a recap. So you've now seen how we work out word problems involving us to find a whole amount. The work that I'd like you to do are these questions here that's in your pack. So there's A, B, there's 1, which is talking about a candle, which Danielle is lighting a candle, and then you've got your challenge question. Have a go at those and see how you get on. And when you attend the Mondays, or if you have already attended Monday session, then you would have done the fraction quiz where you're running around the house to find items. See you later, bye. And we'll talk about Tuesday's session very shortly.